Hi team, in this video I'll be walking you through how to roster your students for an online assessment via QuickCode. Once you find your assessment in View Assessments or a tile that links to the assessment you're looking for, locate the assessment, and then to the right you'll see an action button. Click the action drop down and you'll see the word administer. Go ahead and click that, and this will take you to the online testing assessment administration window. Basically from here, you have two options. You have test in Portal or you have test with QuickCode. In this case, I'm going to be setting my students up to test with the QuickCode, which is a nice way to quickly get students in to take a test. It can also be posted in your Google Classroom and quickly be set up for multiple periods if you're a secondary teacher. Let's dive right in. So if I click test with QuickCode, it's going to immediately build me a roster. Once it's done saving and you see the word complete here, your students are ready to get in here and take the test. All you need to do is provide them with this code right here under access code. If you click that, a window pops up and it will show the student's code that they'll need to access the test. Now you can also take this link right here and post that into your Google Classroom under classwork, and students will be able to click that link and it would take them directly to the login area with the code already embedded. I'll get to that in a bit, but for now let me just go over a few things. Notice for students, there are 0 students rostered to this test at this moment. As students log in with the QuickCode, that number will grow. So if you refresh this page, as students are logging in, that number will grow and grow and grow. Now, one thing about QuickCode is it bypasses rosters. So you could have a student from 3rd period end up in your 5th period test if they get a hold of that code. So be careful how you put those codes out. You can also click test with QuickCode multiple times and give multiple periods different quick codes. So if I wanted my first period to be this code here with the ACG, I could just put that one in my first period Google Classroom. If I wanted this second one to be for my 2nd period and 3rd period and so forth. Now some other things you can do with this is you can edit your rosters. So any of these codes will allow students to get in right now, but if I only wanted students to be able to access my test during a specific time bank, I want to come over here and I want to use this edit button. So if I click edit, now I can come in and set the testing window, which automatically defaults to 7 days. So if I don't want this test to be open for 7 days, I can come in here and adjust my dates. So from 5/5, let's say I want this test to be only open for 2 days. I can come in there and change it to the 7th, and that will keep it open for just those 2 days. Now, in this scenario, this test will be open from the 5th to the 7th for 24 hours a day. Now you can adjust these times here, or you can come to the administration settings and that little drop down that's right below it and set a daily window. And I could say that this test will only be available from the 5th to the 7th from 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. just for that first period class. If I want to set a time duration, I can, but if I leave it at 0, there is no time duration. So just leaving it blank or leaving it with 0 is not going to give it any kind of a time duration. If I do put in 15 minutes, once students log in to start taking this test, there is a countdown. Even if they X out of the browser, this test will continue to count down and not let them back in after that time expires. I typically left mine at 0 or wide open. Student pauses, you can leave that or not. Anytime they X out of a browser, the pauses will automatically take place. So if you weren't holding your students to a time limit, but you wanted them to be able to, finish, not even if they don't finish the test, be able to come back to it tomorrow at a specific time. If they just X out of the browser, it essentially pauses the test for them. The CR input method just allows students to either fill out constructed response questions with the text box online, or they could do it on a piece of paper and submit that piece of paper to you later. Availability, open, or password. If you select password, this is an additional password you could provide your students at the time of the test in order for them to access the test. Now, the lockdown browser feature can be enabled, but it's only enabled with our students while they're at school. So if you wanted to do this from home, this would not be an available thing because of a software download. All of our school computers have the software download, but personal devices or away from home would not work. Now, randomized answer choices. Normal answer choice would be that my answer choices are the same as anybody else in the class. Randomized choice order allows that same question to be A for me, B for another student, C for another student, maybe back to A for that fourth student. It just changes the correct answer in the system. So I'm just going to leave those as is for now. My tool settings is another option I have, and you can use the item setting for item bank questions, or if you wanted to have a calculator across the board, you can have those set to where it would be available to students for every single question on the test. TTS question, TTS passage is for text to speech. Just a little side note, it does not work well for math questions. I would say use text to speech only for ELA style questions or history questions or science questions. It does not work with flexible. It will only work with item bank assessments. You can enable highlighting. Once again, this will only work for item bank assessments. The dictionary will only work for item bank assessments. Strike through will work only for item bank assessments. And then if you had reference materials that were a part of your item bank test, you could use the item setting or disable, same with the ruler. There is the ability for a math equation editor, and there are 3 different grade areas that you can attach. So if you had a constructed response question and a flexible assessment that you wanted students to have access to those math symbols, this is where you enable that feature. And you have 3 to 5, 6 to 8 in high school, and the only difference between those 3 settings are what is available symbol-wise for each student. And finally, we have online testing review setting features. And this is often a feature that gets overlooked or is a little bit, hard to understand when you look at it. But basically, what this means is no matter what, your students are going to get a score after they finish taking the test, but it'll just be a 5 out of 7 or a 9 out of 10 without much information other than that. So just their basic overall score. If I switch view assessment and teacher feedback to yes, not only will they see any feedback you leave them on the constructed responses in Portal, but they would also see which question they missed. So if they got a 5 out of 7, they would be able to kind of drill in and see that, oh, I missed question 3 and I missed question 6. So if you wanted to have that available to students, you turn this to yes, and then you set the window for when they would be able to see that. Now, for me personally, I wouldn't have this open until probably the day after my test was finished, and only for that day. Finally, the last thing, and make sure if you just leave it for that one day that you do adjust your times. So if I wanted this to only be available from 7:30 in the morning till, let's say, 9:30 in the morning, I want to make sure that I make that adjustment within this. And then finally, if I want them to be able to see a key, which not only breaks it down which ones they missed line item by line item, but also will show them the correct answer, I could set this to a yes as well. Now, this is an important question you have to ask yourself. Is this something that you're not wanting the answers to be put out and about? Or is this more of a formative assessment where you really aren't concerned whether there or not kids see the correct answers? This is the option that you have to decide right here. Once I'm ready to go, all I have to do is hit save. And now you'll see that this test settings are resetting. So now this test is only available from the 5th to the 7th, from 7:30 to 8:30, and my code is still here. So now if I wanted to put this code onto Google Classroom, basically all I would need to do is click on it, grab this link, And now go to my Google Classroom. Open up my Google Classroom, select classwork, create a new assignment, add a link, paste the link, and then obviously click Assign. Once students come in and they click on that assignment, they can click the link to the quick code, and right here they will see the access code already there, and then all they have to do is put in their student ID, and they would be able to begin taking the test.